So this time, let's open up our Bibles to Ephesians 4:11. And he gave some as apostles, and some as prophets, and some as evangelists, and some as pastors and teachers. Do you notice anything missing here? In this scripture, what stands missing is the spectators. What stands missing is the audience. We are told so many times throughout our life that the pastor is a special office, that the evangelist is a very high office, and that teachers and prophets, these are all very high offices of the leadership. So this shows the mindset of leaders and the rest of us. What we have to get past is this mindset of them and us, the leaders and the audience. This is not true. There are leaders. They are here to help us. But these offices, or what they call offices, I hesitate to use that word because it shows too much religious structure, but for lack of a better word, I will use that. So these offices of apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, and teacher, these are the four offices, or the four positions. There's a different word, position. These are the four positions of believers, not of leaders, but believers, because as believers we are leaders. So every one of us, every believer is one of these positions, at least one of these positions. Some believers might be more than one of these. For example, a believer might be an apostle and a prophet, or someone might be an evangelist and an apostle, or a pastor and a prophet. But all of us are at least one of these positions. And until we realize that, until we actually really understand that and seek God to understand which position we hold, there will always be the leaders and the spectators. So we have to have a better understanding. We all hold one of these positions because he's speaking to believers. He's not speaking to leadership. He's speaking to believers. And he's saying that some are apostles, some are evangelists, some are pastors, and some are teachers. There's no mention of some sit in the audience, some sit in the front row, some sit in the back row. We, as believers, as the called out ones, the people who have been called out from the world to Christ, we hold at least one of these positions. So pray, seek, ask God to reveal to you your position. And then it's up to the leaders. And there, like I said, there are leaders. It's up to the leaders to help you to grow in that position. If you've been shown by the Lord that you're a prophet, then it's up to the pastor or the apostle to help you grow in that position. If you've been shown that you're an apostle, it's up to the pastor and the teacher to help you to grow in that position. So there are leaders. There are people who are more spiritually matured, but that doesn't mean that we don't still hold these positions. I could be an apostle, and then there's another person that's an apostle that's more spiritually mature than me. He's the leader. He helps me to mature. And the same thing goes for any of these positions. So, in closing, always remember these positions are for you. They're for every single one of us. The Great Commission, Jesus said, go into all nations, making disciples. Disciples means apprentices. So it's not leading someone in a prayer and then saying, okay, my job's done, and going on. It's making an apprentice. Jesus calls this bringing forth fruit that remains. If you lead somebody in a prayer and then you leave, that is like planting a seed in the rocks, and it grows up and then it dies. So bringing forth fruit that remains is you plant the seed and you help it to grow. You make an apprentice. That's fruit that remains. This is for all of us. He told us. He didn't tell the pastor to go. He didn't tell the evangelist to go or the missionary to go. He told the believers to go. And not everyone is going to be a missionary to the Philippines. Not everyone's going to be a missionary to South America. Not everyone's going to be an evangelist in Africa or a pastor in Europe. But we have the responsibility to evangelize in our neighborhood. Be a missionary for your neighborhood. Be an evangelist for your school. Be a pastor for your work. Use your position with authority through Christ in your daily life. And if it grows, God will open the doors for you to go further. But use your position. First, find your position, grow in your position, and use it. You're not going to grow far without using it. So become that missionary to your neighborhood, to your school, to your work. Become that position. Work at it. Practice. And then with that experience of using it, you will grow, and possibly different doors will open for you to use that position in different places. But first, find your position, seek it, claim it, use it, and grow.